Thank you all for joining today's Mountain Mobility Working Group meeting. Today is August 28th, the last week of August. So I have an agenda. I'll put it in the chat. We have introductions first, then we'll talk a little bit about mountain rides, the volunteer driver program, and then the EcoPass business program. So we'll go around the room and we can introduce ourselves. And since we're talking about puzzles and relaxing things, maybe we can each of us share what's something that we do to feel a little bit more zen in a busy world. I can start. My name is Jessica Villena Sanchez. I'm a bilingual mobility planner at Mobility for All, and I really like to take pictures of flowers when I'm feeling like I just need to go outside, take for a walk, and it helps me feel more present. So that's what I do. Paul, I see you next on my screen. Would you like to go next?
Sure. Paul Kwiatkowski, Boulder County Transit Program Manager. Similar to you, I like to hike and take pictures of water, like waterfalls, water in the stream, moving water, I should say.
Moving water. Ah, that's a good one. Thank you. Uh, Katrina?
Katrina, Peak to Peak Housing and Human Services Alliance. And I would rather walk, but like I said, I may not stop, so I stick to my puzzles.
Puzzles online. Thank you. Landon?
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, everybody. I'm Landon Hilliard, Senior Transportation Planner with the Regional Multimodal Planning Group that Alex Hyde-Wright leads. And our family is new to cats. We have maybe a 9-month-old and a 6-month-old kitten. And petting a cat and seeing how there seems to be no care in the world of that cat is calming for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Wait until like when they are on top of you and they start purring, it's like instant blood pressure just goes down. Thank you, Landon. Reba, I see you next.
Hi, everybody. Reba with Director of Netherlands Area Seniors. Nature is my thing. So anything in nature, being outside relaxes me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Reba. Tom?
Very similar and I on nature shots. That's probably there are enough flower pictures that I post on Instagram that get a lot of feedback. Most people don't believe that stuff really exists in nature, but it does all over up here in Netherlands.
Yeah, I bet, especially like sunsets, sunrises. I bet those are beautiful up there. Thank you, Tom. Angel.
Hi, Angel Bond, Mobility for All Program Manager. And I think that a lot of the ones that I like, you all have talked about. I mean, I like puzzles, like especially putting together with family. It's nice. And then also walking, hiking is also nice and relaxing.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get to do some of that after this meeting. But before, we can, I think, move on to the next agenda item. We have 3 points today, and the first one is about mountain rides. So Angel, do you have any updates on that?
Yeah, I do. So we hosted a public meeting last night that Paul and I think everybody on the Boulder County Transportation team was there. But we gave some updates on 2 transportation services that are federally funded, and then we also provided an update for mountain rides. So I'll just go ahead and show the ridership slide that we had shared last night, and we will send out the recording on Friday of the meeting so you can see. But it looks like our ridership is continuing to go up. It's about 150 riders last month in July, which is really good. And then also we'll do a breakdown by day, probably at the next meeting, but it looks like Mondays are doing really well. So I think that that's a great addition, and we'll have to keep track of like the days and the stops and which ones are like which stops are performing better than others and like how we can promote them at other stops. So can you all see the yeah, okay.
PowerPoint, yeah.
What's that?
The PowerPoint, yeah, we can see
Yeah,
it.
PowerPoint. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if you have any questions. I think over 150 in 1 month for 3 days a week is really amazing. So have you all heard any feedback from like a qualitative standpoint from the people that you're serving on the service on Mondays specifically?
I don't know if I've heard any stories, but I was last night on that meeting. It
Mhm.
was interesting to hear how many riders we had compared to some of the other services that our little bus rider was doing so well.
Yeah, yeah. Because like Lions Flyer is, 5 days a week and like 4 round trips, right? Whereas this one's 2 loops and 3 days a week. So I think
Yeah.
we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also just to another update is that we do have these posters and the flyers printed, and Katrina and Melissa has a stack that we need to try to get to you, but we'll just work on like trying to, I don't know if anybody on this call is going to be in Boulder anytime soon, or if anybody's in this call is going to be in Netherlands anytime soon. Maybe we could have you be a courier.
I can touch base if you, oh, go ahead, Reba. Oh,
Oh yeah, I'm in Boulder tomorrow afternoon.
Oh yeah.
But
Okay.
well, maybe tomorrow morning, but I'm making a deposit, so I could maybe meet and get what you need or
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so we'll let our teammates know. Maya is going to be in the office tomorrow morning, I know for sure. Once you know specifically if it's going to be the morning or afternoon, do you have a timeline when you'll know like what time of day it will be?
it will probably be before noon
Okay,
for sure, but I don't know the exact time.
that's fine. I will be at a meeting in Lafayette pretty much all day tomorrow. So, but I think Maya will be there. So we'll find somebody. If not, we'll leave them at the front desk and then the front desk can give them to you.
And where exactly are you guys?
We are located by the county courthouse. So we're right off of Spruce and 13th Street.
Okay,
If you know where the Baldorado
yeah,
hotel is, we're right across the street from that. And
okay,
you can park in 30-minute parking at like the county courthouse parking, or we also have a pickup drop off, like 2 pickup drop off parking spots that are off of Spruce that you could just park in and put your hazards on and go to our front desk.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Thank you, Eva. We'll let Maya and Melissa know that you'll be able to pick them up tomorrow sometime. And then I'll give you the phone number. You can just
Okay.
call the Mobility for All phone number.
Great,
Thank you for doing that.
welcome.
Appreciate it. So Katrina, were there any other questions or any other issues that you wanted to talk about from the meeting last night that we had?
no, not really. It was just interesting to hear the comparisons between some of the other services.
Mhm.
I think that was the only thing that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, it was just the difference in like how the ridership.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing right now. Are you all seeing yourselves?
No, I think you're good.
Was that a yes or a no? Sorry.
No, we are not. We just see you.
Oh,
You
I
are.
like saw people and then it's like, no. But yeah. So I think that it's doing well. And Via participated last night in the public meeting. And so I was really happy to hear the Mondays are doing great.
And did you say 150 rides in 1 week?
In 1 month.
In 1 month.
Yeah. And I can send you, Jessica, the ridership report that you can send out to the full group. I know that Katrina gets them every week from Bob.
The only other thing I think that I would, that I really want to keep an eye on is if it's, I don't know how you quantify it. Is it the same people and they're just moving days? Because I had like 3 people at my human services fair, and I feel like I usually have more that take the bus on that Thursday. So I don't know if that's it. And it's one of those typically slow weeks anyway because of school starting and stuff. But one of the things that I'm curious about, and I don't know how we track, is whether it's the same people riding, and I guess the increase shows us that more people are riding, but did people move their days and so they're skipping the Wednesday lunches, Reba? I don't know if you can tell, or the pantry or the human services fair or anything like that.
We have the same people that have been riding mountain rides joining our lunches. But there was talk. I talked to Annette, who is trying to get 2 people from Rollinsville to take the bus. And I think one of the people might be handicapped. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't met them yet. To know that they can get to lunch so they can socialize. So people are still connecting with people and spreading the word out to them and trying to get them, to come in town if they're people.
Yeah, and the ridership report that Jessica will send out with the meeting minutes will also has the numbers of drop-offs or pickups at the particular stops. So sorry to scroll so fast here, but so this is going to be the second tab. So this is drop off at, pickup at. So it looks like you can go ahead and like scroll through the day and you can see how many people are picked up at the community center and dropped off in Rollinsville. And then it will talk about the total for the day. So when she sends that out, just go ahead and pay attention to the second tab. That's the to from. So let me see. I don't think we have, the 22nd is the most.
Yeah, I was going to work on another formula that would help show, but it sounds like you guys might be, to sort it by what are the most popular rides or days. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I can do that, but
we could definitely look at the data that we have and see if we can find any meaningful trends. It looks like BNF and Food Box, Community Center, Food Box. But yeah, so we'll dig into that and we'll see if we can get a better analysis next month.
Because you don't really have it broken up where it's necessarily coming to lunch. You just have them all as community center.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
I also heard that the kid that goes to work at BNF on Wednesdays is now also using the ride on Mondays to get to work. So from Rollinsville. So I was excited to hear that he was able to make use of that a little bit more.
That's wonderful. It looks like Lisa's joining us too.
Yep. Just admitted her.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, sorry, I'm meeting.
All right. So we were just going over the data in the ridership report, the to from, and we were just talking about how we'll dig into the data a little bit more before next month's meeting, just to see if we can say like which days look like they're the best, like which of the like origin destination pairs are the biggest need, just to kind of be able to tell that story a little bit better. I don't know if you have any like standard reports that you know that you can pull out of EcoLane, or if we're just going to have to do it in Excel.
Probably just, you mean, yeah, I don't have everything that Bob has is in Passio for the mountain ride.
Oh, okay.
So he can maybe pull some stuff. But so far it looks like Monday is a strong day. People are liking Mondays and they like those Wednesdays. I mean, Thursday isn't terrible either, but definitely Mondays seem to have sort of taken the lead there with Wednesdays as far as ridership and utilizing the service.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we'll take a look at this data a little bit more and see if there's anything meaningful that we can bring back next
Yep.
month.
The next month. Okay. Just for the minutes. Okay, anything else on mountain rides? Then we can move on to the update on the volunteer driver program.
So, so there's a couple different things going on with the volunteer driver program. I've gotten quotes from a consultant to do the technical assistance, and it looks like we're going to be going with FHU to be the consultant to help us with the program, like manual, the tracking system, and all of the technical aspects of the volunteer driver program. I'm still waiting for John to get me the certificate of insurance. And Miranda also reached out. So Miranda's working under contract with the town to be able to work on this project. So as soon as we get the insurance requirement, the COI, it looks like John said that he would have it by the end of the week. We should be able to post the position. Jessica will send out the job description that we have in the agreement, the IGA with the town, and just see if there's any other information that you all want. So there's not a ton of updates, but it's hopeful that hopefully we will get that contract signed next week after we get the COI from John. And thank you,
That's
Tom,
great.
for reaching out to John, and yeah, that's good. Has
And
anybody heard from Miranda other than is she just working from Arizona, or is she going to be local?
She comes back now and then for, we had a Netherland 150th birthday. She was certainly back for that. But
Oh,
she
wonderful.
pops back from time to time.
She's doing a couple of projects for town that that a couple for the ARPA funding for the mental health thing and the volunteer driver program, so that John doesn't have to worry about those to start because they needed to get going. But so she is helping. I've talked with her a handful of times about both remotely, so she's fairly responsive.
Yeah, that's good.
Always have been.
Yeah. I'm glad that she's still doing some work to impact the community, and yeah, not going away forever, her skill set and her talent.
Mhm.
But that's all I have for the mountain volunteer driver program. It'll probably take us about 3 weeks to really get under contract with FHU for the technical portion, but I'm hoping that the town can move a little bit quicker once we have that contract. Once we have the IGA in place, they'll be able to post the position. And then I'm not sure what the town normally does for like advertising positions and how long they normally advertise positions, but we'd be glad to like share the like the job posting around as well once the town's able to post it.
Right.
I don't know if you all know of anybody who might be interested or might be a good fit for the volunteer portion.
Curious what the job description looks like.
Jessica will send that out with the meeting minutes as well.
Great.
yeah, I will share that at the end of the meeting. So no problem. Yeah, that was one of my questions, Angel. Do we is the town responsible for promoting this job posting, or do we also do it?
Yeah, so it'll be a town job posting, I'm assuming. And I'm not sure how they normally go about that, but we would definitely promote it for them.
They'll
Excellent.
post
Yeah.
it on their website and put it out on social media. I don't know if they'll actually purchase a listing.
Yeah. I saw Tammy Winston the other day when she was in town, and she was the consultant that we used for the initial inclusive planning process. And she was so excited to see that the project is moving forward and that it wasn't
Yeah.
just a plan to sit on the shelf. So she was like, yeah, she was like, send me the link and I'll forward it to people. So I think that there's a lot of, she's excited at least. I know she's not local anymore. She's in Seattle area, but it was good seeing her.
Yeah. She worked hard on it.
Yeah, she did. She did a great job.
Okay. If there is no other updates, we can move on to EcoPass business program. I know, Landon, you're working on that with Melissa. So do you have any updates for us?
Oh, happily. We are excited to be standing up a business EcoPass program. And remember that in November 2023, Town of Nederland residents overwhelmingly approved extending the property tax mill levy and adding the possibility of a business EcoPass program. So where we are now is putting together the administrative processes and coordinating with the Town of Nederland staff to have the tools ready to basically do a head count to understand how many employees within the Nederland EcoPass district would want to sign up initially. And from there, after having a head count, we will contract with RTD for 2024 prorated EcoPass, and then also move into 2025. Does anyone want to take a guess of the cost of a prorated EcoPass for a employee per person if we started in October? As a starting point, it's $30 a year for 12 months for one person within the tier that we're thinking about. But it's prorated and the cost drops per month, but we're looking at starting in October. Anyone want to take a guess what will cost one person to have an EcoPass?
I'm not sure, one person or like.
Well, I mean, what the per person cost is.
Landon's trying to get us to do math here on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, I think I spent $250 or so several years ago for an EcoPass. So I gather it's higher than that. This is when I was in Boulder for the neighborhood
But
pass.
Tom, remember, if we would have started in January of 2024, the price per employee, if you pool all the employees together in the Town of Nederland, would be $30. So it's less than $30.
Okay,
It's not
16.
a trick question. It's just, and maybe I should just tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's only $8 a person.
What?
That's
For
incredible.
3 months.
And we're expecting as most 3,000 employees, but probably much less than that for 2024.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
That's
we'll
great.
have a
Yeah.
contract aiming to start in October. And what we're thinking about now is putting together a communications plan in coordination with the town and to hit all areas so that employees and their employers know this is coming. And we want to have easy enrollment processes so that we remove any barriers to entry. Again, both for staff themselves, but also for the employers. The others, something to mention here is the RTD NB service that connects Boulder to Nederland and how that might be augmented. And related to that is the possibility of establishing some kind of demonstration project of a shuttle that would circulate between the town, basically Nederland Park and Ride, and Eldora. And it's worth mentioning that Eldora, of course, is the big elephant employer, and we want to be sure that we can accommodate all those numbers in a smooth process. So those are the basics. I'm happy to take questions. Jessica, is that what you had in mind as far as bringing people up to date?
Actually, I asked for this to be on the agenda because number one, just a quick question. You say there's going to be 3,000 employees a year. that use it? Is that what you're projecting? Did I-
Not use it, it's what we think could be the maximum number of employees who
Potential.
are employed in the town of Netherland. And remember, it's like an insurance pool program where
Mhm.
everyone is wrapped up into one package, so to
Mhm.
speak, and the cost per person, the $8, starting in October per person, to finish out 2024, applies across the board. It doesn't have to do with the use of the pass and those who enroll, but the people who are eligible. And this is a wild guess that there are 3,000 employees, and we don't know exactly.
Yeah, because I think that's extremely high.
Yeah,
Like extremely high. Although Eldora has what, 700, but they weren't saying that more than 100 people would actually use it. My takeaway from the EcoPass meeting the other night, which I thought was very interesting and relevant, is that when you went to BNF and ACE, they weren't that interested in the program because they don't really have people going up and down. And so as I was thinking about it over the last couple of days, I think they would be very much interested in one that went north and south because that's where their workers come from. Their workers come from Ward and Rollinsville and Gilpin. They don't necessarily come from Boulder. Neither one of those places pay enough for somebody to spend 2 to 4 hours a day getting to and from Nederland. So again, I think the data and the stats will be interesting to see, but I think that they would have been much more supportive of some sort of program that went north and south to pick up the people that actually work at their businesses currently. So just wanted to make note of that because that's something I think that we should really keep an eye on as we go forward with the businesses and when we're looking at what the possible ways mountain rides, could be more useful. I know that a shuttle around town in the wintertime, which I'm assuming is the only time it's going to run, again, might not necessarily help employees because it's not going to where employees live. But I'd be curious, and maybe town would work with us to do a little survey of all the business owners to say, where do the people that work at your business live majorly? And that might be a great place to start to really set, kind of a baseline. And then also, does it switch if we have a business EcoPass? Do some people from Boulder start applying for jobs at BNF and ACE? Yeah. if they're available. But anyway, those were just my thoughts from the meeting the other night, and just ideas of what would be interesting to see as we go forward with the business pass. But yeah. I'm glad it's coming.
That's a good point. Around people living in like Ward or Rollinsville, because if like they're not already part of the district in Nederland where they get an EcoPass, even if they get the EcoPass from like the employer standpoint, they don't just have to use buses to get to work though, right? So it could also make it to where they could take trips down to Boulder if they like weren't already eligible for the town EcoPass, right? Because there's no, and I guess what I don't understand, Landon, is the employers are they gonna have to like have a partial like subsidy of it? Are they gonna have to do a cost contribution, or is it just free for employers?
It'll be free for employers because of the property tax. That is the revenue for the program to pay for both the residential EcoPass program and this new business EcoPass program. So the cost per person is not something that employers need to think about. It's just what will establish the cost of the contract with RTD.
Yeah.
But so in your communication with the businesses, did you tell them that their employees, whether they lived in Boulder or not, would be eligible for an EcoPass?
Yes, Katrina, we're just beginning outreach with the businesses, and we've selected maybe a handful or so who are most eager and the largest to trial the forms that we're using for enrollment and for employee information. And so to your point earlier about the fact that people live along the spine of peak to peak and maybe don't travel as much east-west, once we establish the EcoPass program, we can go more deeply into where people live and where they want to go. We can educate people about the fact that, as Angel mentioned, that with the NB, there's access to the entire regional transportation district network. And we can begin establishing maybe more regular routes along the peak to peak with not only with mountain rides and volunteer driver, but something more established. And I know you've talked or been in conversations with Gilpin County and the gambling cities to the south, and about establishing employee shuttles that maybe could be wrapped into the EcoPass program. So there's lots, this is just the ground floor, basically, the platform that gives access to the RTD, but there's so many possibilities to expand upon it once we establish that.
Right. And my thing is, yes, you could have an EcoPass if you lived in Ward and worked in Netherland, but if you don't have a car, you're not working in Netherland because you can't get there.
Yeah.
So, and it's like chicken or the egg.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think like those longer trips are also more expensive, right? Like even if you do have a car. So maybe, I don't know, because I know that I have a car and I use it for my local trips, but then if it's a longer trip, I'll take the bus because it's cheaper. And so I like commute into Boulder from Westminster on the bus because I don't want to drive every day, right? So I guess, I don't know, like maybe some of those longer trips they could take on the NB like for personal things. I don't know.
Yes, because mountain rides doesn't go down. That would be something that people who are on mountain rides have asked for, how to get to Boulder.
Yeah.
The issue is the time of the bus running during the day, which is when mountain rides runs.
Yeah.
So there's not it's not a very clean or timely hookup. But this is where we're going, this is fine. I'm just saying these are things that I see, and I'm glad they're being taken into consideration, as we build this out. But I'm always going to be advocating for the people who don't have transportation. So at all.
Yeah.
You can have all the stuff you want, all the free rides for kids, all of that stuff. But if they can't get to the damn bus, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Thanks, Landon, for working on that. It's exciting.
Oh, happily. And I'm just representing us, but Melissa Hunter on the Mobility for All team is part of it. And she's made a beautiful flyer that is in draft form. And we've got the town of Netherlands staff who are close partners and need support because of so much they do already. So it's a big team effort. And it's exciting to think that in some ways it's been 10 years in the making. And this is the next phase of EcoPass for Netherlands and expanding transportation options. Katrina, to all the points that you've made, this is, we know where we want to go. How can we get there faster?
Yeah, I mean, and you probably hear it, but what I hear from people in the community is I can't get there. It doesn't work for me. I can't get there.
Yeah.
Some of the pushback that you're getting from BNF and ACE, it just, they're not, it doesn't matter to them. The people can't even get to Netherlands. So, and I shouldn't say it doesn't matter to them because that's a little extreme, but they aren't as interested in that as they are as having employees who can get from their town to their work.
Yeah. It's hard to think about transportation as being like a benefit if like you're just like, I don't know, like trying to just maintain what you have, right? I think it's a uphill battle for like a lot of small businesses to like even think outside of that.
And like I always say, and I seem to always be saying, we're way back at the beginning.
Yeah.
Everybody who has had transportation or access to transportation have heard and learned all those things. Nobody's come up here and communicated to our community about some of the benefits and why the EcoPass is important, and why it's important to pay for it even if you don't use it, you know, your property taxes and all of those kinds of benefits. We don't speak in those things yet because it's not that public. And in the last 5 years, our residents have changed greatly. You know, we've had a big turnover. So
Katrina, what do you mean that we don't talk about it? Like people don't know. Okay, I'm a little confused because I
We
know
don't-
that this
we
mobility
have-
wall has been up in Netherlands for several different events, and we helped with the EcoPass transition also at the beginning of the year.
but as a community, we don't talk about transportation. People either use the bus or they don't. You know, there's not this big conversation in the community about transportation except for the lack of it.
Yeah.
Nobody has, and I don't want to say nobody, again, tend to exaggerate. Understanding how transportation works and how it gets implemented, we don't have that in our conversation here outside of us people who are working on it.
Yeah.
So even when we were doing the healthcare, we did a survey. Clinica did a survey and said, are you in support of a health clinic in town? And would, you know, what, not are you supportive? They asked some really crazy question. And everybody said no, because they have health insurance. They weren't thinking about how the fact that their community could use health insurance. And it was not a good question.
Yeah.
But you can talk to people here and they're like, I don't care about it because I have a car. They don't understand what it means to their community for somebody who doesn't have a car to have transportation.
Yeah.
That's the conversation that's not happening. And they're like, why do we need this?
Yeah.
So those are the things. You can sign people up, but they've got to want to sign up. They've got to understand some of those other things. And we need support of more than just the people who don't have cars.
Yeah. And I think it's hard when thinking about changing human behavior and the way that people are used to moving around, and then also the needs that they have at the moment. So, I mean, I understand, and I don't think that that is necessarily unique to, you know, Netherlands. It's just the culture and the age and how people moved for most of their lives. I do see the importance then about from marketing, from trying to reach people in different ways, trying to host events, go to tabling events, like attend the peak-to-peak virtual meetings, partnering with the town, and it just takes time. Yeah, going up there, some people are really interested, some people don't see that they have the need right now, but at least having the information out there, I think, is what we can do. Okay. Any,
Board that had never heard of mountain rides.
right.
So even a transportation board isn't talking about transportation options. And I get that they're just focusing on the EcoPass, but this all should connect. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the comments, and thanks again, Ladon, for working on this effort, and October is so close to us. So is the plan to have it before, before the winter? Just so I'm assuming that that's when the most people who work there seasonally will need it.
Yes. In particular, the recruiting period of Eldora begins now, but the
Mhm.
heavy season for bringing people on is October, November, and then it levels out a bit in December. So we want to definitely have it in October as a recruiting tool.
And FYI, a lot of businesses up here, even though Eldora gets crazy, a lot of the businesses up here lay people off and close for 2 days a week, which is different than the summer. So they don't have as much work. They're not as busy. Eldora doesn't cover what they lose from summer businesses.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments to wrap up this conversation? We have maybe about 5 minutes, but we don't have to use them if we feel like we've already advanced the agenda and talked about the points that we have.
I guess I have a question about next month's agenda. I suspect that it will be heavily dominated by the volunteer driver program, but we also talked about looking at mountain ride data a little bit more intentionally to look at like which days are most popular and like bus stops that are popular. Are there any other topics that you all feel like would be useful to talk about at the September agenda?
Angel, I just wanted to clarify too, because I still have people asking about, they're getting different medical procedures and getting rides and stuff. The only thing I'm promoting to them is the friends and family.
If they're older adults, it's most likely the friends and families, like what they have access to, because there's not a lot of older adults who also have Medicaid as their primary, right? So it's like primary versus secondary insurance. So when Medicaid's your secondary, you don't get transportation benefits, but when it's your primary, you do. So I would say family and friends is probably what you can do. If they live within 3/4 of a mile of the NB route, I would also promote and they have limited mobility, I would promote Accessoride.
Oh yeah, definitely. Most of the people are not within that zone to be able to use Accessoride. But I just want to make sure that that's all that's available, because that's all I keep telling people.
Yeah, and Reba, we would love to come to like after lunch or something coming up and just like talk to people and help them sign up for family and friends, help them sign up for Accessoride. So I look to you to like let me know like what Wednesday is going to be the best Wednesday to do that so that we can promote it coming.
Okay. Okay. And you're wanting to do that before this year's over? Are you wanting to come up before the year end?
I would say so. We're going to do the Human Services Fair in October.
Okay.
But
That's
I
on
think,
a Thursday.
what's that?
That's a Thursday that you'll be up.
Yeah, so just keeping that in mind that we would have like, if we came sometime in October, we might be able to hit people twice or like,
Okay.
I don't know, yeah. September, October would probably be
I
good.
would say you guys pick the day that you want to come.
Okay,
We're going to be serving lunch every Wednesday in October.
okay. Well, we'll follow back up with you after we talk to the team
Okay,
about schedules
sounds
and
good.
yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Reba. Okay, so I will send the minutes for this meeting, and then just to clarify, Reba, you will come tomorrow before noon at some point to pick up the flyers and the posters. I'll send the ridership for mountain rides, and then next month we'll talk mostly about the data, and then also the update on the volunteer driver program. And then Reba will send you or the dates that we can come in October. It will be a Wednesday. Do you have a time?
Oh, she hopped off.
Oh, bye, Reba.
Katrina, when does the lunch usually get over? Do you know? Oh, here she is.
She's back. Hey, Reba.
Sorry, I keep getting bumped off.
Oh, no, no
Yeah,
worries.
that
So
sounds great.
would it be a Wednesday? What times? Is it after lunch, we said?
So Wednesday, lunch is noon to 1, but people sometimes finish up anywhere from 12:30 to 12:45. And so are you wanting to just do like a little quick announcement standing up at lunch in front of everybody? Like I do announcements around 12:30 while everyone's in lunch together. Or are you wanting to do more of a presentation in the lounge afterwards? What are you thinking?
Thinking of
Like a
presentation, because if it's Accessoride, it might be like a lot of information. What are you thinking, Jill?
Yeah, I think we'll have to look at the mountain rides schedule also to make sure that the timing of it aligns to where people can leave, like when they need to leave, right? So probably an update would be good just to get the general public, but then we could also stay after for like one-on-one support to help people sign up.
Okay, yeah, because the mountain rides, we have someone that comes that leaves around 12:30.
Uh-huh.
And then another one, the Via bus picks up at like 1:10 here or something like that. So that's pretty much, during lunch
Yeah.
time. So if you're wanting to catch those people, and we can definitely have you linger around after for anyone with questions and stuff. Honestly, I could say the majority of the people that do come to lunch probably would only pay attention to the friends and family and the accessoride in the sense that someone isn't able to drive themselves and what their options would be.
Yeah.
But most of our people get to lunch on their own.
Okay.
The majority of our people. Yeah. But it would just be information for them to have. So if something happened in the future, then they'd probably be like, oh yeah, weren't you telling me about something that I could do to help get me to doctor's appointments? So the posters and the information up is good for people to have to remember what was said as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing that we keep forgetting, that if people are planning something, they need to, it takes a while for these applications to go through. So it's in people's best interest to sign up now or understand the process now, so that they know that if they're planning something, this is not emergency type stuff. So that they can plan it. I think that's what a lot of people miss, is that they've got to start the process well ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does take people like 7 times when they hear something before they really like start processing it and registering it. So I don't think it's like a one and go thing, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be like a repetitive thing, and people don't usually plug in if they think it doesn't pertain to them.
Mhm.
And transportation is one of those things that I always say, like, people don't think about until it's broken. And then
Sure.
all of a sudden it's like, oh, I need transportation because mine's broken. So I think just reiterating that fact that like it's good to plan ahead.
Yeah, that would be great. So you guys being there to talk and us having all the information always available, for them to see posted will help as well. And just continuing to tell them what they have available now, as they ask questions. Yeah.
Great. Thank
Thanks.
you, Reba.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Reba. And thank you all. I think this is a good time to stop the recording.